Today on Detroit Muscle, it's time to get your glass in gear. We're going to show you how you can rescue dinged and scratched up windows, and also how to swap it out if it's a lost cause. Then we'll take a close look at a super hot COBRA jet-powered pony that helped keep Ford in the race for muscle car dominance.
Got a question for you. When you drive your vehicle, what part do you look at the most? The hood? The dash? Nope, it's not it, but you're close.
Nope, it's the windshield like the one on our Trans Am here. In fact, it needs some glass work before we give it away later on. And we're going to show you some glass tech you can use at home. But first, a little history lesson to get you in the mood. Even though a form of safety glass was invented in 1903, most car windshields were made of common glass through the early 1900s. On dirt roads, rocks would be kicked up to windshields, which wouldn't crack or chip. No, they would shatter into large, dangerous shards.
Early versions of laminated glass windshields were made for vehicles by the late 1920s, and the process continued to evolve and improve. In this Ford production film from the mid-30s, a layer of cellulose acetate is used between two layers of glass.
Modern laminated glass is created by inserting a vinyl film between the layers of glass. A combination of pressure and heat bonds the film to the glass so it absorbs energy.
In addition to laminated glass, in the 1930s, automakers began to use tempered glass for side and back windows.
A heating and rapid cooling process strengthens the glass's outer surface as well as its core.
Without the tempering process, our cars would be full of shattered glass, whether or not we're hitting a pothole, getting into a fender bender, or even slamming the door.
On the other hand, laminated windshields still can get damaged. When one's taken a hit like this, well, no choice but to replace it. But that's not always the case. Well, like with this chip caused by a flying rock. It's about the size of a penny in diameter. Loctite makes a windshield repair kit that lets you fix it before it gets worse and save a bunch of money. First thing you want to do is go over the spot thoroughly with some glass cleaner. After it dries, put a paper towel or a cloth down here to keep any overspill from damaging the paint. Now take the adhesive disc from the kit, punch out the center, and remove one side of the backing. And center it over the damaged spot. Pull the adhesive layer off the other side and install the plastic pedestal on top of that, as straight as possible. Take the syringe, push it onto the pedestal, and thread it in to get it fully seated. Now what we're going to do is hold the syringe with one hand and gently pull back on the plunger. Hold it for a few seconds and let go. Do this about 10 times, then let it sit for 30 minutes. Now we can remove the pedestal, wipe up any leftover fluid, and peel off the adhesive. After cleaning it some more with glass cleaner, we can see that it's virtually gone. So when you compare the cost of the Loctite kit, about 10 bucks, and some of your time to buying a new windshield, well, this is clearly the better option.
While we're on the subject of glass, have you guys seen that perfect car with the super cool paint, nice wheels and tires, and it's got some nasty old glass in it? It's kind of like getting to the 5-yard line and then saying, no, touchdown's too much work. On our Trans Am here, you can see the little wiper haze, and this is from over years of the dirt and grime and stuff being ground into the windshield. With our ride, getting a replacement windshield is no big issue because they made a whole bunch of these cars. But let's say you've got something a lot more odd. Well, the only option you would have is to repair this.
Well, we know a glass pro that can help us get that TA over the goal line. Mike Dante's installed glass in several rides around the tech center. And sometimes he can even bring a windshield back to life without replacing it. Well, Dante, the obvious question, how do you decide whether you can polish a windshield or you got to replace it?
A little fingernail test I use, see if I can feel a groove. And if not, smooth to the surface, I'll take some buffing wheel and a compound and bring it back to life.
You know, I guess some guys might try to do this themselves for the first time and have a few problems, right?
Yes, sir. You can over buff, causing a distortion spot in the glass, which basically gives you a Coke bottle effect.
And you're going to notice that
Yeah.
every time you get in the car.
Every
right?
time you look through it.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, RTA is salvageable, right? We think.
Absolutely.
Okay. What are your tools of the trade here?
A buffing wheel, which is kind of rigid to buff that glass, and you got a buffing compound, which is like a jeweler's rouge, which will make it nice and shiny and clear.
And of course, a little window cleaner
Little
and towel.
glass cleaner and some paper towels.
Okay. I have one final question. Do you ever get your beard caught in the windshield wiper?
Nope.
Well, let's see you do your stuff then.
Okay.
Tom's going to lay down a piece of masking paper to illustrate the difference between the buffed and unbuffed glass once Dante's done. Well, as for Dante, he's going to mix up some of that buffing compound he showed us.
The buffing wheel gets some water as well. This is important to keep from overheating the glass. Then some compound can be applied to the wheel.
When I'm buffing a area this big, I'll do rows back and forth, nice and slow, so you get the most done in the least amount of time. And sometimes it's good to mark the area you got to buff, since it is glass, on the inside with a marker, so you can stay in that box. Right here where I did the most passes in a couple rows, you can see where the buffing is actually taking out all these scuffs on the windshield. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit more, and then we'll check the results. You can see clearly where that was before and after. Well, there you go. You can see what buffing a windshield will do for you. The results are quite nice.
Well, some of it is. You still got about 85, 90%. You still got to shine up.
We just need a little more time.
That's for sure. So you guys don't run off quite yet. We still got to address the backside.
Still ahead, we've got more glass tech for you as Dante shows us the ins and outs of swapping a rear windshield. And later it's a COBRA jet-powered killer. Then we revive a set of nasty, gnarly headlights.
Well, so far you've seen it repaired, you've seen it polished, but when it's too far gone, like this curved rear glass on our TA, it's got to be replaced. By the way, Dante, did you know the first American car produced with curved glass was the Chrysler Imperial Airflow in 1934?
No, I didn't. Did you own one?
No. Dante has a specific tool that glass pros use, and it can prevent accidental damage to your trim and clip.
It is actually a trim removal tool that releases the clip, which allows you to pull the trim off the car.
Next up is a cold knife, also known as a pull knife. It's used to cut the old seal that holds the glass in place.
What I'm going to start with is this shorter blade, which is a starter blade, where you don't have to pull so hard. Makes it easier to save the glass and not strain yourself in the process. I'll be moving up to a bigger blade to cut some more of this seal. This might get it all, but this is on butyl tape. It tends to spread out over time, so it might even take one more go around with a bigger blade, like 1.5 inches.
With the seal cut, the glass can be removed from the car. Well, this has got to be the least fun part of the job, getting rid of this old school adhesive. What do they call this stuff anyway?
Butyl tape.
Butyl tape. Man, it's sticky. It's a lot of scraping, huh?
Stays sticky forever, yes. Makes a big mess.
Some glass cleaner helps to make the butyl easier to work with. Then a razor blade is used to cut it.
By the time muscle cars came out, cars had curved glass front and rear. We got our rear window from YearOne. It's tempered, tinted, and thanks to Dante, about to be installed. First, Dante does his dance, covering the glass's perimeter with black primer. Next, another primer goes on where that nasty butyl stuff used to be.
Like what Dante was referring to, here's a small example of that soft butyl. Now this stuff never ever hardens up and it stays all gooey. What he's going to use is what's called a hard set urethane. Now when this stuff here hardens up, it's going to give us an extremely tough bond, and it's actually going to glue in our back glass, giving us some added structure, where if you use this stuff, well, the old glass can still move around on you. And with a steady hand, he lays down a continuous bead of that urethane.
Then the shiny new window can be laid into its new home.
And we're good. Nice and smooth, looks great.
Dante will use some foam blocks to help position the glass while the urethane cures. Then the trim can go back onto the car.
Now check out the glass on that. Another beautiful job.
Tell you what, there ain't nothing like a nice piece of glass. Ain't that right, Joe?
Yeah.
After the break, come take a gander at one of Ford's legendary big block Mustang offerings, and then learn how to revive a set of faded headlights.
About 2 seconds after Ford unveiled the Mustang, fans were gyrating for big block power on its order sheet. The optional 289 Hypo had 71 ponies over the standard Windsor V8. That wasn't enough.
The new Chevelle by Chevrolet. SS 396.
The competition had been supplying race-ready performance in their midsize offerings for years. And by mid-1967, the new Camaro was already topping Mustang in sales.
Ford had to do something.
They offered up the FE Series 390 cubic inch V8 into a widened Mustang engine box.
But it was still a full second slower in the quarter mile.
One frustrated Ford dealer decided to take matters into his own hands.
Bob Tasca had a reputation for high performance, and he had a race team out of his showroom in Rhode Island. It was his idea to take a Ford 428 engine and a set of low-rise heads and intake off of a 427 and run these hybrids at the Winter Nationals. That year, Mustang nearly swept the competition, and the Ford executives took notice.
The Mustang Cobra Jet was born. It was met with rave reviews, especially since the sticker was nearly $2,000 less than the Shelby version. Ford took Tasca's specs and added a nodular iron crankshaft and stronger connecting rods. A 735 Holley 4-barrel set on top of the intake, fed by a Ram air scoop with a vacuum butterfly.
Stats on the Cobra Jet were impressive. 428 cubic inches. Horsepower rating was lowballed at 335 for insurance purposes. It was actually around 410. How about these numbers? 5.4 seconds, 0 to 60, and under 13 in the quarter mile. Out of the box.
Keith Stem found his at Crown Ford in Nashville.
It was a unique automobile because not many people know what they are. They thought it was just another Mustang GT, a 390 car, which, as we know, weren't all that impressive on the street. But there's been a lot of cars been terribly surprised when they tried to show me their taillights. I never saw any.
The car was built to race. No radio, no clock, console, or air conditioning. Cobra Jets came standard with heavy-duty shock towers and rode on polyglass tires. No Cobra badges anywhere, but they did sport the GT treatment, fog lamps, wheel covers, dual H-pipe exhaust, and a C-stripe.
In '69, this muscle car went through a complete redesign. Same engine and trans packages with GT badges missing. In its place, Mach 1 luxury with lots of options, including the unmistakable shaker hood. Mark Marcus's was one of over 13,000 ordered that year.
It's like nothing else. It takes you back. I mean, if you were young when you first got in a car like that, it takes you straight back to those days. So it's just got all the power. There's no substitute for cubic inches.
By 1970, CJ orders dropped to just 2,600, spelling the end to the Cobra Jet era. And for Keith, well, he almost parted with his thanks to gas prices doubling to, get this, 60 cents a gallon.
I think the dealer was going to give me like $500 trade-in value for the car. I said, you know, for $500, I think I'll just keep the car.
Smart thinking, Keith.
Stick around and we'll show you how to bring back a faded set of modern headlights from the dead.
Well, it's quite transparent. Today's show has been all about restoring and replacing glass. And while they don't make headlight lenses out of glass anymore, they're plastic. Just like glass, they need to be clear to effectively and safely light up the road for you. A UV protectant is applied at the factory that fails over time, so the lenses become faded and yellow. Dupli-Color offers this two-can kit with polish to make lenses clear again and clear coat to keep them that way. In addition to polish, this product contains a cleaner and degreaser, so the only prep necessary is taping off the area, of course, when it's on the car. It doesn't take long to get this lens looking as clear as new. But it won't take long to get dull again without this, the second half of the kit. This clear coat's made to give lasting UV protection. It only takes a single generous coat to do the job. In addition to safeguarding against UVs, it also helps fill in tiny pits and cracks. Well, pretty big difference for a little time and effort. And that's the way you light up the road without burning up your wallet.
You'll be in good company with this new tool from Matco. It's a 3/8 drive, 18-volt cordless impact, and a lot of professionals are raving about it. One reason is a heavy-duty rare earth motor that's good for 325 foot-pounds of breakaway torque and up to 230 foot-pounds of working torque. It's got a heavy-duty clutch mechanism for high output and variable speed trigger with one-hand control for forward and reverse. Plus, the ergonomic handle and the balanced design makes it easy to work with. The kit includes an impact wrench, a charger, a battery, and a case. If you're interested in one of these, it'll set you back about $520.
If you're planning an LS engine swap for your muscle car, you want an accessory drive that's simple, lines up correctly, and of course, one that suits your personal needs and application. Well, that's the whole idea behind Holley's new GM LS drive kits like this one, for a non-AC or OEAC setup. Now it comes with an alternator, 130 amp by the way, power steering pump and pulley, idler pulley, and of course the mounting bracket. They also have separate kits for installation and just the brackets for many Chevys like the F-bodies and Vets. The whole idea, well, is to drive your system without driving up your budget.
Would you like to detail your prized ride like a pro without professional training? MEGUIAR'S Power System Kit can help you with that. It comes with a cool little DA attachment that goes onto your drill. There's a pad for waxing, polishing, and compounding. It's everything you need to restore your shine, remove some swirl marks, and give that paint some great depth. The kit also includes some microfiber cloths. It runs about 90 bucks. Well guys, it looks like we've done polished off another one of the Detroit Muscle Shows. So until next time, we'll see you guys later.